war with Iran is coming. Axios is reporting that it is imminent. It might be days away. And they say that there's an inside source that says 90% likelihood that Trump's going to order the war. We've got 2 aircraft carriers, 12 fighters, 150 transport planes. We brought almost our entire fleet into the Gulf, ready to go in a war with Iran. No one on the left wants this. No one on the right wants this. The only people who want this, are you listening, Larry Ellison? The only people who want this is Israel. So the people who are starting this disastrous war is Israel. The people who want this is Israel. So the people who are starting this disastrous war is Israel. Israel. So the people who are starting this disastrous war is Israel. And Israel First has donated so much money to Donald Trump, to Joe Biden, to Kamala Harris, to 94% of Congress. They completely own our government. They're going to force us into this war, even though no Americans actually want it, and the polling indicates that. Tonight on the Young Turks on YouTube at 6 o'clock, get all the details of this disastrous imminent war.
Hey, Bill, good morning. The Middle East is bracing for the possibility that war erupts in the days ahead. Reports indicate President Trump has discussed a possible timeline for strikes against Iran, but has not yet made a final decision. More U.S. military equipment is on the move, and the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, is now arriving in the Mediterranean Sea. Today, the Iranian Navy conducted joint drills with the Russian Navy in the Sea of Oman, as a top Iranian admiral said this.
The naval forces of the Army of the Islamic Republic of Iran routinely conduct various exercises around the world within the framework of defense diplomacy programs. Joint exercises with Russia are also part of our regular planning, both in the Caspian Sea and in southern waters, and are carried out annually within the framework of defense.
With the region on the brink of direct conflict, European countries have started to warn their citizens in Iran to exit the country as soon as possible.
Some work to do with Iran. They can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. You can't have peace in the Middle East if they have a nuclear weapon. And they can't have a nuclear weapon. And they've been told that very strongly.
Iran also sent a notice to airmen not to fly over Iranian airspace during the drills, which could include cruise missiles. The Pentagon has deployed more than 120 warplanes to the Middle East, including 50 in the past 48 hours. This includes 48 F-15 fighter jets, 18 stealth F-35s, 22 KC-135 refueling tankers needed to form an air bridge, and a squadron of F-22 Raptors.
The U.S. now has more military air power in the Middle East than at any time since the 2003 invasion of Iraq, that according to the Wall Street Journal. And with a second aircraft carrier on its way tonight, the White House appears prepared for the possibility of a weeks-long war with Iran if ongoing nuclear talks fall through. Here's Charlie D'Agata.
The Iranian Navy held joint exercises with Russian ships today, a show of force in the face of renewed threats of military action from President Trump, who has warned the regime it must curb its nuclear program.
They must make a deal, or if that doesn't happen, I maybe can understand. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But bad things will happen if it doesn't.
The president.
Mr. President, are you
Now is the time for Iran to join us on a path that
Tonight, we know the president.
Breaking tonight, President Trump confirms that he is, in fact, considering military action against Iran. This evening,
Iranian leaders have said any attack by the United States, limited or not, would cause them to unleash their vast missile arsenal at U.S. bases. The amount of military hardware the Pentagon is positioning in the region signals it is not a question of if, but when.
There'll be news coming out in just the past.
the President of the United States repeatedly says that his military is the strongest in the world. But the strongest army in the world can sometimes be slapped so hard that it can no longer get up. They constantly say, we have sent an aircraft carrier toward Iran. Sure, very well. An aircraft carrier is certainly a dangerous piece of equipment, but more dangerous than that is the weapon that can sink your carrier to the bottom of the sea. In one of his recent remarks, the President of the United States said that for 47 years, America has not been able to eliminate the Islamic Republic. He complained about it to his own people. That is a good admission. And to that I say, you will not be able to do it either.
This is a wake-up call, all of America, all of Europe. You are next.
How many on the terror watch list got in? We don't know the answer to that question. That is very dangerous as a national security expert, which is what the FBI Director Wray talked about coming from Hamas.
The ongoing war in the Middle East has raised the threat of an attack against Americans in the United States here on our own soil.
Donald Trump attacks, it won't be like last year. Last year, the US only targeted Iran's nuclear sites. They flew in, they bombed, and they left. This time, it is likely to be a sustained campaign, one that will target government and security installations. Reports say the US military is preparing for that. They're bracing for the possibility of a weeks-long operation. And chances are, this will be devastating. Several US bases and soldiers are within Iran's missile range, plus Tehran has threatened to hit American allies too. Allies like Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Many of these countries are opposed to an attack on Iran. They don't want an attack. They have publicly refused to give their airspace for such an attack on Iran. So we're talking about a very risky move, both politically and militarily. Yet Donald Trump appears to be considering it. Look at this report in the US media. It says Trump promised to support an Israeli strike on Iran's missile program, not nuclear sites, on the missile program. So Trump is giving diplomacy one last chance. But if there is no deal, then he will order an attack. That's what reports say. And Iran is also preparing for that. Their military has started drills. The Iranian military, it is conducting drills in the Strait of Hormuz. This is a crucial waterway in West Asia. It carries more than 20% of the world's oil trade. If Iran wants, it can choke this supply. The Iranian military can blockade the Strait of Hormuz, maybe put underwater mines to keep oil tankers away. And if that happens, the world will feel the pinch, because oil prices will skyrocket. Of course, all of this depends on what Donald Trump chooses to do. Will he pull the trigger or not? Right now, the situation is a perfect stalemate. Iran will never agree to give up its missiles. If they do, they will be defenseless in the future. But for Trump and Israel, this is a golden opportunity. The Iranian regime is at its weakest point since 1979. If you want to topple it, now is probably the best time. Trump himself hinted at that on Friday.
Do you want regime change in Iran? Well, it seems like that would be the best thing that could happen. For 47 years, they've been talking and talking and talking. In the meantime, we've lost a lot of lives while they talk, and legs blown off, arms blown off, faces blown off. It's been going on for a long time, so let's see what happens.
The talks tomorrow will be crucial. Every failed discussion will set off alarm bells. It brings us one step closer to the possibility of war.